Hello everybody, and we are back with the last video of the whole series, of the whole making Mavericks series. This has been a big thing actually. We're now part 8, so yeah, that's actually a lot of time that went into this whole thing. So recording everything and also editing and now commenting it's really a really big thing, but I thought that maybe some of you might be interested in seeing how this all was created and how much effort goes into it. So we're gonna start with the last video of it, the final touches, the whole surrounding area, and I would say we just look at it. And yeah, as you see, here I'm trying to add more little structures and more buildings to the whole scene. So first of all, some like antennas or some towers that are scattered around the whole airport, because these are a big part of an airport too, to have it look like an airport. So as you see, it's a very simple structure. I also once took some pictures of those towers. Maybe you see them here and there. Yeah. And these were very fun to do, because you could just take a picture, use this as a texture, and as you see, it already looks kind of realistic. So that was fun to do. And if you put them around the airport, it adds a lot more like detail, and it makes it more believable that it's an airport, because airports need antennas and towers and whatever. Don't know exactly what for, but yeah. It looks more like an airport. Also some, yeah, I think that's the part where I thought, okay, oh no, that's actually something different. I thought to put in some actual parts of the real level into the scene. So I took the ground plane from the actual stage and put it inside the scene. I don't think it's that much visible in the end video, but now you know that it's there. So it's where Mega Man is walking around on it. So I thought, okay, it would be cool to have it somewhere in the stage. So I put it behind the buildings, and it connects all the buildings in the background. So if you look closely, maybe you'll see it. Now you see it. Okay, there is actually there are some original parts from the game in the scene. So that's a little Easter egg maybe for you, if someone's interested in it. Yeah, also again adding a little bit more detail, some fences, some little structures in there, and also again creating textures for buildings. So these are also some shots that I took here around in Germany, in Düsseldorf. I rode around with my bike around the city looking for something interesting, and I found some very cool buildings that had interesting structures. So I thought, okay, let's take those and use those for some buildings in my scene. Blender crash, and yeah, there I'm creating this little house. This was I don't know, like a little hangar that I found. Use some textures of those and just put them on top of it, and then extrude or like inset some parts to add more depth to the model. But they will be also visible, I think, just in the first scene, so it doesn't have to have too much like geometry or detail. It just has to look real enough for the first scene, for the first camera shot. Overall, it's not visible at all in the whole video. Yeah, there I'm using some engine parts from trains to make like motor models or things like that. But that's really interesting. It's very cool to use this, because they look super random if you don't know what it is. And it just looks like a engine part or like a technical part, whatever this might be. And if you extrude it, as you saw right here, it has very deep shadows, so sometimes that can help, sometimes it can be too much. But it yeah, it was fun to make. Also with the building, with the windows, as you see, it's just a super simple setup, but it works for a building far away. So that was fun. For the roof, I saw just used some panels that were actually on the wall, but again, it's so far away, you see it back there in the background. If it works, it works. Yeah, again, those buildings here from the city, I used those and actually recreated the building itself a little bit, so that was fun. I'm not sure what kind of building it actually is, but it was fun to put it in the scene. So what came next? Oh yeah, some container assets, also from Ian Hubert. So thank you again, Ian. These were really cool because they are also randomized. So if you copy them, the color and the logos on it are randomized. So you have always a new asset. And there you see, I couldn't leave the terminal like it was, so I had to redesign it basically. So I took I looked at some references and I got some inspiration. So I thought, okay, let's redo it again, but this time, as you see, a little bit more sci-fi design-wise. And yeah, it kind of worked, but I still, in the end, I improvised with the 3D model and made it a little bit more different. But yeah, soon you can see. So here I'm still adding some more different materials to make it more versatile. With the shaders, that was a pain also. With the next video, I definitely learned a lot, so I will improve a lot to the whole process. Yep. I also got some small 2D assets. So you see them there. I think from ArtStation, from someone. They had like a free asset pack with 2D assets, so I used those to put on the buildings, put on the ground and everywhere, to add more details, to add little like structural metal things, a little sci-fi agreeables. So that was very cool to make it a little bit more like sci-fi looking, but also like nice, super glossy, like very sleek sci-fi, like Star Trek or whatever. Look, I like more of the like grounded, like more like Star Wars sci-fi design. That everything's a little bit dirty, a little bit more not like super high glossy and everything. So that was these parts actually helped to make it a little bit more look sci-fi. And there you see, I'm just deleting all big parts of the whole terminal. I just needed to redesign the whole thing. So yeah, as you see, I'm recreating this whole building basically from scratch. So as you see, it's important for me to show you also that in a time lapse, everything seems or looks like it's just in one go, and I didn't really think about it. I just did all those things, but I added actually a lot of trials and errors out because it might not be interesting for you. But I thought, okay, this one with the terminal, I will leave this in so I can tell you that even if it looks like super like straightforward in one go, there are a lot of moments where I think something looks good and works. In the end, I recreate a whole big part of it because in the end I think, okay, it's not working, it doesn't look good, or it's not like nice to look at. So there you see that I'm just trying things out. I'm changing things a lot here and there, left and right. And when you saw the video, you will see that the terminal in the end looked a little bit more different than right now at that moment. But yeah, I'm still trying, and I'm getting closer to the point where I'm actually happy with it. Adding a little bit, like some little fences or railings to it. Also, again with the walkway, extending the walkway behind the terminal, but I don't think it's that much visible in the end. But who knows? Yeah. So the building is. Yeah. Did you see in the beginning? I did like this little roof. Over the entrance. In the end, I deleted it again because it looked more like a mall. I think that was my reasoning for that. So yeah, I didn't like it. As you see, okay, it's getting now more to the shape that it was. That is in the final video. Yeah. That's more closer to the final result. Also getting adding more details, more pipes, more boxes, more assets. So you see, it's very cool to have like those little assets, like little parts that are not very important, but if you put them around your scene at the right places, also you have to just not put them randomly. If it fits the scene, if it fits the placement, then it can actually add more realism to the scene. So that's what I try to do there. Yeah, so as you see, a lot of time went into redesigning the terminal. And also to make it even more believable, I added some like lines, some guiding lines around the terminal. So for parking spots, for just to guide someone maybe from one place to another, stuff like that. I think it adds more like realism to the scene when you put something to the ground, especially in an airport. And also I decided to add another little tower with an antenna, just to have a sci-fi element more to the terminal. So that looked, I don't know where I got the idea from, but I saw something similar in an image, and I thought, okay, this might add more of a sci-fi feel to the whole scene. So I added a little tower. Blender crashed a lot that day. I just thought, yeah, the scene got so complex in the end that it was a little bit hard to manage all the things. And here I'm playing with the sky again. Crash. Here I was playing with the sky and the lighting because I wasn't really happy with it. I wasn't sure where the light should come from the left, from right, what color it should have, So that changed later on also. And I think in the first shot there are also some hangars visible, so I wanted to have some of those, so I modeled some hangars, some sci-fi hangars, and that was actually really cool to do, to just come up with a design for sci-fi hangars. I used also some textures, of course, from a real hanger, but on the sides I also used metal textures, I believe, or a metal texture pack that I created in Photoshop that I just put on top of the hangers. So it's fun. Also those sci-fi like grids and little metal pieces, they helped a lot. Yeah, again, just using this one big texture and just moving the UV map. It's called the UV map, the parts of the model that you slide around the texture to see where it would fit the best. I just used them and slid them around to see, okay, what looks good, what doesn't look good. Would that be an entrance? Where would a vent? Where would a vent be? where it makes sense. So yeah, I did this with the hangers, and they actually look kind of cool, I think. Very like sci-fi and not too clean or regular like we know it from our world. Again, adding more smoke. This time I wanted to have dark smoke, but it didn't really work that well because it still had some edges that didn't really work that good. So I thought, okay, let's leave it white. White was alright. And also I still needed some fire or some sparks in front of the camera when the eagle is like crawling on all his on his knees. And I needed a place where they would come out, so I created a new, like a rip in the ship, to have some sparks and some fire come out. So I just put those in there. Also behind them, a few. This all adds a lot of atmosphere and a lot of like drama and yeah, a little bit more color also. So I decided to put a lot of like fire sparks in front and behind him. Yeah, also those patches, those green grass patches, they are actually also, if you look closely in the level, they are also in the background. I think in the overall background back at the end, there are some, I can also maybe put them like in there in the video. So, no, here. So they are actually in the back. So I thought, okay, it would be cool to recreate them. Also more dust. Actually, when he stumps his feet and the dust comes up, that's actually also like a 2D dust element from Action VFX, I believe. Yeah, also I'm re-encoding some files because they have different frame rates than my videos, so I had to change the frame rate of the videos here and there. Yeah, there you see it. When he flaps his wings, there's also like a dust cloud going up. It's not that visible in the final video, but if you look closely, you see it. It just adds some subtle realism. If he flaps his wings, the dust like gets put up like into the air. Also when he smashes his hand, and also when he's crawling. With every hit, there's a little dust cloud going up. It's not that visible also with the final product, but yeah, it's those small details that I like to add to make it a little bit more believable. So yeah, that was that. Yeah, I also needed to edit a little bit of the metal bending around his fingers. Yeah, and there you see all of those little smoke details. They're just 2D planes. Yeah, then I decided to add like some small barricades. I don't know what they are called, like made out of concrete, like blocks that are that nobody passes by, basically. There for that. So I created those. Created a little texture for those little black and white stripes to, I don't know what they like. They mean caution maybe. So I put those onto those blocks. Again, with the same concrete texture that I used for everything else. I used them. I actually used a cool technique for the first time to randomize the texture. And I actually got it to work. So every time you copy it, the texture is moved around, so no concrete part looks the same with each copy. So that was really cool. And that's a very, very simple shader technique. Yeah, also putting some damages on top of it, and there you see it. And I'm replacing parts of the barricade with the black and white, black and yellow stripes. So yeah, almost there. I'm adding more atmospheric like parts to the whole scene, small dust clouds everywhere that he's stumping his hands, and the arm cannon, you see all those little dust clouds. And then came the part for the big smokestack. So the idea was to simulate it in Blender and put it in there. But it took too much time, a lot of time. It looked kind of cool, actually, the first time, but it didn't really work like really well and properly. So I thought, okay, let's use another software, and that's called Embergen. And Embergen is just awesome. It really is the best thing. It's a real-time smoke and fire and explosion simulator. It's a separate software. I had like a few weeks trial, so as you see, I created smokes in there, and I could import them into Blender, and there you have your smoke. And it works so well. As you see there, it's in real time. You can move it in real time. You can edit it in real time, change it over and over again. And then I put it in my scene, and you see that there's realistic smoke in there. And in Blender, you can change the density, the color, if there's the heat even. So all those things, they are exported from Embergen into Blender, and all the informations, and then you can change it up. And that was really cool. And I will definitely get the subscription for Embergen for my next project when I will need smoke or fire or whatever. That will be soon, I'm pretty sure. But as you see, it looks really cool. You have all the controls, and again in real time. In Blender, you have to change the smoke, then simulate for maybe a few minutes, and then check, okay, does it look good? No, okay, change again, and back and forth, and simulate, and a lot of time is wasted. And with Embergen, you can just instantly in real time see the changes, and very fluently you render it out, export it as a I think VDB file, and then import it into Blender, and there you go. So you see, it just almost with one button. There are still some things that I had to learn with Embergen, but overall you can make it even that it loops, so that's another like super crazy thing. But yeah, then I edited and it worked almost instantly, so that was really cool. Yeah. So what's happening there? Just adding some small parts in there to enhance the whole scene. Some more of those grid parts, some pipes, to just use it around the airport to add more detail. That's all this is. So you see it a little bit here, a little bit there. Those little grass patches, I thought they had no purpose, so I thought, okay, let's put some little ramps there that you can actually go onto the grass for whatever reason. I'm not sure. Yeah, I had to also change the sky a bit because I wanted to have it more interesting, more clouds in the background at certain shots, and I wanted to have more control over the sky and over the lighting. So I changed up some HDRIs, I repainted them, I combined some with others. So there was a lot of trial and error, but and yeah, it worked actually pretty good. And in the end, you will see I used there are also two suns suddenly, because when I used the clone stamp tool, I accidentally cloned the sun. So yeah, that was fun. And also, I still had some trucks to model, and I thought, okay, let's take the original artwork or the original designs, the pixel art basically from the game, and I used them as a template, and I just used those to create the trucks, the real trucks. So you see, I took them, I extruded them again, I added some details, some insets, some parts. I extruded some parts to give depth to the whole thing. And in the end, these are the real trucks from the game that I didn't like make a realistic version of them or whatever. I just made them the 2D sprites into 3D models. I maybe added a little bit like some reflections to the model overall. But as you see, that was really cool to do, to have like a proper sprite from the game in the scene without it sticking out too much out of the realistic approach. So that was very cool. And there you see the second truck. I don't know. I just found those on the internet. I hope I can use them. I'm pretty sure I can. just an homage. So yeah, these were fun to do. So there you see. I just modeled the truck originally after the original design. Just played around with the textures here and there, but overall these are the original textures in the scene. Add the tires, and there you go. And then I also randomized the colors of the trucks and just copied them a few times to have them in the scene, to have more of them in the scene. Yeah, that's a randomization of the colors. So as you see, I copied them around and they are different colors. And they are also just seen in the first few seconds with the camera pan around the scene. Yeah, also added some markings, some ground markings for the parking spots, basically for the trucks. More lines, some dashed lines. Yeah, adding even more like some type to have something like zeros and ones. I thought, hey, it's a robot city or a robot airport. How do they communicate? With ones and zeros, of course. So I just added them, added some markings on the ground with zeros and ones. I mean, of course, why not? Yeah, so we're almost at the end. Adding more fire to it. Again, 2D fire elements inside the ship to make it more broken, to make it appear more broken. And also some little like embers, some like glowing hot coal. I put it on those parts that are ripped apart, so that it actually looks like it's ripped apart, and the pieces are still like glowing from fires and sparks. So yeah, that was also cool to do. And yeah, the last things that I did was basically adding. Still going? Yeah, it's still going. Ah, left a little pause there. Adding more things with this arm cannon to move, actually, and adding some sparks. So yeah, these are now my tries to add sparks to his can when they are like flying into his face, and he's like, "Whoa, hey, what's that?" First, I wanted to simulate those, but it didn't really work that well. Spoiler, in the end, I used also 2D spark effects that I used for the spark, because there was just too much fiddling around, too much trying out. Okay, how could they look good or not? I wanted a specific look for the sparks, and I couldn't really get it. So I thought, okay, let's just use 2D video of sparks and put it in there. And as you may be seeing, it worked pretty well. So yeah, so this is what I was doing. Again, in EmberGen, I used it to also make his jetpack fire like the exhaust fire. And yeah, for that the EmberGen was also very cool. I had to play around with it a little bit, as you see, maybe a lot of trials and error, because there are so many attributes that you can actually change up for the fire to look right. And then I found actually they have a template for jet engines, so I thought, okay, let's take this and just make it more like fitting into my scene. But overall, yeah, it worked pretty well. Yeah, there was still some tanks that I wanted to add, so that was cool. And I used again some assets from Ian Hubert to connect them with pipes and with all those parts. So that made everything much easier, because then you don't have to model anything. You just connect all those parts together, and it looks good, hopefully. Yeah, again, using the same textures for everything. You can save a lot of memory and in the end rendering time when you reuse the same textures over and over again, because then Blender doesn't have to calculate the new textures, and it takes sometimes a lot of time, a lot of memory out of your scene. So it's very good to always put maybe multiple textures into one texture, so that you have one file but can use it in different spots for different purposes. So that's really cool. Yeah, with a scene complex like this, after a while you have to really think about, okay, how can I improve the performance of the scene, that it doesn't render like 5 minutes per frame. So yeah, again, adding some spark elements in front of the scene to add more atmosphere, some smoke here and there. You see it's those are 2D planes in front of it, so that you have little sparks flying into the camera almost. That adds a little bit more atmosphere. Yeah, thought this one bird isn't enough. I have to use multiple birds in the scene, so I just scatter them around to see like a whole swarm died and something happened that they all died. Yeah, again, I think here now I'm thinking about using those sparks. So let's see. Yeah, definitely. There you see it. So these are some spark assets. I'm not sure where I got those from, but yeah, I just put them in the right place at the right time, and it works super well. I recolored them also. They were originally like yellow, reddish. I made them blue because it's supposed to be like an electric spark. Like a yeah. I mean, electric sparks, they have different colors, but here I thought, yeah, blue would be very fitting. So that's what I'm doing there. And I think I even one particle simulation, I still left it in there just for the initial first spark. So that worked all right, but for all the other sparks, I used it's the same spark asset, the 2D spark assets. Yeah. Yeah, doing some of those sparks. I also use the same sparks actually, when he's like stomping his cannon onto the ground. Then you can actually see that the sparks fly each time he hits it on the ground. So it was important for me to have that also. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. So adding again some small subtle details when he's moving. Okay, if he hits the cannon on the ground, there would definitely be some sparks flying or some light flickering. So I thought, okay, let's add that to that. Also the same sparks again when he's pulling out the rod out of his shoulder. Again, also 2D elements the whole time. If I would simulate it, all the sparks, that would be too much, definitely. And yeah, there's the jet engine Imogen that I actually could manage to change it up a bit. I could make it look like I wanted to. So here you see it. That's almost the final result. Make it a little bit more shorter. Make it more not like super wide. To make it a little bit more narrow, because the exhausts of his jetpack are pretty narrow. And then importing them, just aligning them to the jetpack. You can kind of see them already, and they actually like ignite when he starts flying away. So that was one of the last things that I did. Yeah. As you see, I just tried out some different colors here and there. I was thinking about, okay, what color should the jet stream have? thought about yellow, blue, some blue parts. Didn't really work out. I didn't know how I should do that, so I just gave it one color, and that looked all right. There you have it. That's still some little blue. I still have to change it up a bit. But yeah, these are the final moments actually of the whole video. Just checking everything to see, okay, does everything look good? Does the fire look all right from the jet? So there was still some trial and error, but as you see, that's basically the end result. So that was cool. And also adding more dust when he's flapping his wings and taking off. There is also some subtle dust, like just in a split second, created. There you see it. It was very subtle, but I thought, okay, the wings would maybe like dust off, so the dust of the wings would actually like fall off. So I tried to do that also with the 2D elements. And yeah, making some test renders, seeing everything looks good. And then the end scene, it's just what I did. I just took a picture of the eagle, just a 2D thing, and in the end it's not the 3D model that's taking off, it's just a small picture from the side that I moved around the scene, because it would be too much to move the whole thing. And so I also could adjust the size of it maybe a little bit. But yeah, that actually looked in the end pretty good. And I even think, so there you have it. And that's it. So yeah, so that was in the end, I actually took the 2D sprite, and I think I made him fly into the sky in Premiere in the end, because I didn't want to render everything out just with the small thing. I had more control over it in the end, and it's so small you can't really tell what it is. But yeah, that's it. That was it. It was a lot of fun, but also was really exhausting. So I hope it was very interesting for you guys. It was very enlightening for you. Maybe I could give you some insights into my thinking, into my philosophy, basically, into what I was thinking about when I created this whole thing, and how much effort actually goes into those. So thank you very much for joining me for this whole making of series. I won't do one again probably, so if you're expecting one for every short movie that I do, no, sorry, no. It's just too much work. I have to record every session that I do, and it's a lot. You always have to keep that in mind, and start and stop the recording. It takes a lot of space on my hard drive. So and editing and also commenting, it's also a lot of time and effort. So I probably won't do this again. You can kind of imagine for every film that I do, the effort is very similar, and the approach and the thinking. So yeah, if you want to see more like behind the scenes stuff here and there, I on Instagram I post a lot of those like current work in progress things. So if you're interested in that, you can always check me out on Instagram, and also on Twitter, and also on Twitch, because I stream sometimes once a week, and here on YouTube of course, because the main videos will be here uploaded on YouTube. So yeah, that's it. So thank you very much. Please subscribe, that would help me a ton if you haven't already. For all the subscribed people, thank you very much for your support. That's really cool. If you have any questions, if you have any comments or suggestions also, please leave a comment down in the video, and or you can just hit me up on Instagram or Twitter, and yeah, that's it. Now I'm gonna work more on the third movie. Yep, it's going pretty well, and we'll see you hopefully next time with the next videos or my next post or whatever. Bye.